r/NoSleep. Posted by you/the dangerous. If you wake up at night and feel a strong urge to piss, don't. I don't wake up from nightmares. I've never done it, and I probably never will. I don't know why, I probably have them, they just never manage to wake me up. So, when I abruptly wake up, it's for a good reason, a real reason. It could be a loud noise, or pain, or even a huge urge to take a piss. Tonight it was the latter. I sleep naked. I keep my window open, so it'll get cold in my room, and then I snuggle up against the blanket, embracing my own warmth. It's very comforting, and puts me to sleep like nothing else. The problem comes when I'm getting out of bed. Because I'm very reluctant to let go of my warm blanket when it's so cold, but my bladder hurting is a good motivator. Pulling my clothes under the blanket, I squirm around, until my pajamas are on. Outside it's pitch black, snow covering the roads, everything silent. It's the type of night where the darkness takes on its own quality. It's not merely the lack of light anymore but its own thing. It paints itself into corners and objects and the air itself, turning them darker than they should be. My bladder screams at me in pain, telling me that I have to hurry up and get to the toilet. I fumble out of bed, trying to balance myself by gripping my table, and walk towards the door in a haste, but I walk too quickly and recklessly because I stubbed my pinky toe against my dresser. The pain is horrid, worse than my bladder. I honestly think that saved me. I started jumping around on one leg and gripping my leg tightly, and that helped so much. My sleepiness slowly fading, and the blood around my body rushing. Soon the pain fades away from my toe and I continue to the toilet. I open the door, and it loudly creaks. My entire house is dark, only the moon shines through the darkness. It illuminates everything in a low white. I don't remember my house being so dark, or so silent. For each step I take on the red carpet towards the bathroom on the floor, I hear the wooden floor creak loudly. I swing open the door eager to piss. A putrid smell floods me, hanging upside down in front of the door, its skin wrinkly and dry and moon white, spiky yellow teeth in its mouth, blood-red eyes staring at me, a wide smile spreading across its face. It tries to clasp me with its long arms. It felt like time had slowed down completely. I let all the strength in my legs fall, and as I'm falling to the ground the hands clasp above me. I kick away. Rushing towards my room, I slam the door shut. The banged against my door but quickly stopped, the strong urge to piss reappearing. I fumble for the key I've got stuck in the keyhole and twist it, locking my door. I'd rather piss out the window than go out there again. I walk over to my window and open it wide, and I try to piss, but no matter how hard I push and strain myself, nothing comes out. It bangs against my door, making it shake and rattle. I'm happy I locked it. I feel my heart almost beat out of my chest. I try calming my nerves as rapid breaths go in and out. The banging stops alongside the urge to pee. I'll leave you with this, dear reader. If you wake up at night and feel a strong urge to piss, don't. The next story of this video. Posted by you/sleepyhead963. The Rooster. Let's move to the country. That's how it started. My husband pitched the idea to me while we were eating dinner one night, bored out of our minds. James and I live in America with our 3-month-old baby. Like everyone else, we're sick of being cooped up during the pandemic in a big city. It was really isolating and my mental health was taking a turn for the worse. I'm currently a full-time mom. James does marketing stuff online full-time. After some more conversation and confirming that it was possible to get strong internet in the middle of nowhere, we decided to pool our savings, move to a farm, and live off-grid for a while. My husband has lived on farms for his entire life until he went to college. I, on the other hand, had exactly zero experience with farms. We did some research, talked about practicalities, then bought a tiny place 1 month later. We packed up all of our stuff into the car, drove 10 hours south, and moved in straight away. The house itself was a nice little fixer-upper. We managed to get a great deal on it, seeing as it had been on the market for something like a year, and the owner was desperate to sell. Everything about it was perfect, except that the house was positioned a little too close to our neighbor's barn, at least by country standards. Our neighbor's barn was still a good 100 meters or so away, but even then, we could hear his animals when we were drinking our tea in the morning. Of course, the occasional moo or baa in itself wasn't a problem. "That's a sheep," I would exclaim to my baby girl. The barn itself was rather dilapidated, and our neighbor had portioned off his property with an unfriendly-looking electric fence. What did quickly become a problem, however, was the rooster. It would start crowing at 3 a.m., and unlike normal roosters, it would just keep bellowing. Like a relentless siren, usually until about 7 a.m. My baby was not happy about this and was near impossible to put back to sleep once the rooster's tirade had commenced. We let it go for the first few nights, but it quickly became apparent that this would be a regular occurrence. James explained that roosters should only crow at regular intervals. If they're crowing continuously, it means one of three things. 1. That there is artificial light messing with their internal system. 2. The rooster perceives something as a threat to the hens. 3. They are being mistreated. We tried speaking to our neighbor about it, but he never seemed to be home when we came knocking. We wrote letters, but to no avail. We saw his car come and go, so he was definitely just ignoring us. Eventually we even tried calling the police. They laughed down the receiver and asked me, "What did you expect? You live on a farm." We were on our own. Just us, and the rooster. A month had passed by. I was grumpy, hormonal and sleep deprived. My baby's sleep schedule was non-existent, and James was sick of dealing with two cranky girls. We were all feeling the rooster-induced stress. "Cark-a-doodle-doo," sang the rooster at 3 a.m., right on time. "Uck," I groaned, rolling over and covering my face with my pillow. James sat up in bed. "Enough," he said, stretching. "What do you mean enough?" I mumbled from under my pillow. I heard my baby stirring from her crib and mentally prepared myself to soothe her for the next 4 hours. I watched as James swiftly got changed. He took his phone and a flashlight and told me he'd be back soon. Images of guns and the electric fence between our neighbor's barn and our house sprung to my mind. But what the hell are you going to do? What if you get caught trespassing? He might have a gun. This guy's got those birds in a state, I just know it. I have a real bad feeling about this. It's sick, Delia. Roosters shouldn't be crowing like that. I'm just going to go and see what's happening, get some evidence, and I'll be right back to my ladies. James had a point. I sighed, kissed him on the cheek, and let him go. James was stubborn, and if he felt he had to do this, then he'd do it regardless of how much I tried to talk him out of it. I watched him expertly navigate my neighbor's electric fence and trek over to the barn in the dark. As promised, he wasn't gone for long at all. Before long, he was back, and visibly shaking. "How did you go?" I threw my arms around him, holding him tight. I was so relieved he didn't get shot. James didn't say anything. I took his hand gently and looked at his face. "Babe, are you all right?" Without looking at me, or saying a word, he sat down on the couch. After a moment or two, he took his phone from his pocket and handed it to me. "I think you should watch the video," he said quietly. I swallowed. James seemed really shaken up. "Okay." I unlocked his phone, and navigated to his gallery. Among the happy snaps of us and photos of our baby doing cute things from the previous day was a grainy video. I clicked play. The first shot was a close-up of James' face. He looked alert and determined. He made a shushing motion with his finger and then switched the camera around. It shakily showed our neighbor's barn in the dark. The rooster was screeching, and other animals could be heard. The camera zoomed in on the barn, as James surveyed the premises. James held the camera as he sneaked around the back of the barn, the camera zooming in on a crack in the window. The footage was dark, but I could see there were no animals in the frame. There were just humans, 5 of them, on the ground. 3 women and 2 men. 2 people were squatting on the ground, their arms pressed into their sides. The other 3 were on all fours. There was shit everywhere and the people looked to be covered in it. One of the men squatting on the ground threw his head back and bellowed, "Kirkaroo-oo." Goosebumps covered my body as I recognized the familiar sound of the rooster. A door was pushed open and another person entered the room. His face didn't make it into the frame because he was tall, but he wore black overalls and rubber boots. What looked to be a butcher's knife dangled at his side. "That's our neighbor," I whispered. He pulled back a curtain previously obscured from the shot and revealed a naked girl hanging upside down from her feet. She was shackled aboard and her hair draped across the shit-covered floor. The man in black held the knife up to the girl's stomach and pressed it against her. The video audio picked up murmuring, but no exact words could be made out. Then there was shouting. The girl strung up by her ankles squealed in a pig-like way. "Moo!" bellowed one of the women on her hands and knees. "Bah!" bleated another. The man in black brought his knife up and slit the girl's throat. Dark brown gushed out of her gaping neck, pooling beneath her. "Kukaroo-oo," crowed the man on the ground. One of the men that was on his hands and knees fell to the floor, kneeling. His expression was one of pain. The video showed the man's lips moving, and he appeared to be saying something to the man in black. The man in black grabbed the man on his knees by the throat, holding the knife threateningly to his body. He yelled something, and then kicked the man on the ground in his ribs twice. The man on the ground appeared to cry, as he struggled to resume his position on all fours. The other people present did not move, but remained in their positions, terror strewn across their faces. The man in black raised his butcher's knife again, hacking off the dead woman's arm. He cast it down in front of him, pointing at it. He was yelling something. The animals crawled over to the arm and lowered their heads, as if they were to begin eating. Cud caraka cow, sang the rooster. The video stopped there.